Working in the reptile industry isn't always flowers and rose farts. For example, sometimes you're trying to film and the bird that you're babysitting won't stop screaming. It's quite a bit of work, and the hours are long. You really throw yourselves into the job when you're dealing with live animals. You don't really take a lot of time off, but it is worth it. And insulated shipping coolers are the reason why, because whenever they show up, they have fun things in them. And this is especially fun. So ball pythons are great, don't get me wrong, they're a staple of the industry, but I myself am a bit more of a colubrid guy. This is the junk category of snakes, essentially, where you have pythons, you have boas, you have elapids like cobras and mambas, you have vipers like rattlesnakes and, well, gaboon vipers, and then you have everything else, and this falls into the colubrid family, which is a very, which is a very, very diverse, widespread family of snakes that is, as time goes on, getting further classified. So let's take a look at what we got, and we'll start with Mr. Teeth here. So we got some snakes in from Canadian Mouseman, and I am very excited to see everything that he has sent us here. And I'm going to stop recording because I can't untie knots with one hand. Tripods. They're a truly great invention. So, I've actually got some pliers here that I stole out of Cody's shop. I'll return them to help me open these knots that were tied with the strength of 10,000 gorillas. But we'll get through it. Well, there was no chance of the snakes escaping out of here. There we go. It was easy. Like, no problemo. So let's see, there's actually a label on here. This is a male WSA. I don't know what that means. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I do know what this means. This is a really cool little snake here. And he's a little bit about the teeth. So, let's see. Whatever. You can't do that much damage to me. This wicked little fella here is a... Where are you going, buddy? This is a Axanthic Florida king snake, and it's white-sided. So, Axanthism strips the pigment out of these guys and leaves you with a sort of grayscale, a black and white type doohickey, and the white side is pretty self-explanatory. Now, this is a project we have been working towards. We have a little baby one of these we've been growing up who's taken a long time to grow, and a male Axanthic het white side. But this is going to help us push that project forward. So if there's anyone out there who's looking for an Axanthic het white-sided male Florida king snake, that will soon be available for purchase because this fella here is going to be his replacement, and I'm absolutely smitten by this pretty little guy. Now let's move things along and see who else we've got. We got a few to get through. And we got our next one here. With every male that we got, we have, well, for most of them, we have a corresponding female. Hi. And so this is our female white-side Axanthic Florida king snake that's going to be pairing up to that male. So out of this pairing, we should get 100% Axanthic Florida white-side king snakes. Now we also have a male pink pearl Florida king snake, which is Axanthic and lavender albino. So we can work that into the project and tie all of these cool genes together and maybe work some of our hypo stuff in there too to get some really stunning genetically stacked Florida king snakes. And I'm super jazzed about that. These are actually fairly good sized king snake, and they are ridiculously strong when you're holding on to them. They hold on back. And that's because in the wild, king snakes, they get their name by being snake eaters. They eat other snakes, often venomous ones like rattlesnakes. And although they can take a bite from a rattlesnake, it's going to hurt like hell. But they will survive it for the most part. Still, you want to be a real strong snake when you're trying to constrict other snakes for eating, because that is a difficult shape to constrict. So I'm going to get this girl put away in quarantine, and we'll check out what we got next. Now, given that this box has king snakes in it, you really want to make sure your bags are secure, which makes them a pain to open. But given that those aforementioned king snakes can be cannibalistic, the last thing you want is for the snakes to get out in transit, because that's how you wind up ordering X amount of snakes of a certain size, and then by the time they get to you, you have less snakes that are bigger, which wouldn't really be ideal. So, oh my goodness gracious me! Holy shit on a stick, Batman. My hands are kind of weak. Okay, there we go. Progress. This is gonna be my workout. I guess I'm doing arm day today. Okay, so this is a boy, and it is a tangerine Honduran milk snake. I love these. So milk snakes are a species of king snake that are broken down into approximately 26, 27 subspecies, something to that effect. So they are king snakes, but they really leaned into the whole Batesian mimicry gimmick. These guys have bright colors with banding on them that make them look a heck of a lot like coral snakes, which are quite venomous. So if you're a predator and you come across what you're not sure is going to be a coral snake or not, you're going to think twice about trying to eat it, because if it turns out to be a coral snake and you are a fox or something to that effect, you do not want to get bit by that. And so that gives these milk snakes a bit of an edge. It's called Batesian mimicry. Now in the wild they don't look exactly like this. This is a hypotangerine. Okay, so just a tangerine Honduran milk snake. But still, that just makes those reds absolutely pop, and I am smitten. I absolutely love it. Let's carry on to the next one. Alright, next up we have another milk snake. This one's a girl. And this is, now we're getting into some morph stuff a little bit more. Hi. So this is called, come here darling, this is called the Crazy Line morph, or it's a line. I haven't looked into it a ton yet. I got a little research to do. But basically what happens here is you have the classic banding of these milk snakes, and it's, well, for lack of better description, it goes crazy as you progress down the snake. It's not your typical clean banding across. It would be an apparent pattern. And I love that too. And I'm going to say that about every single snake, but you're going to have to deal with that because they're all lovely. But take a look at that little baby. Absolutely cool colors. Now I've been handling snakes all day and I smell like every species under the sun. So I'm shocked I haven't been bit yet, honestly, given that these are cannibalistic snake-eating snakes, but I suppose, being that they have just been in transit, they're probably not feeling that hungry. This guy's got such a cool side shot of the head. Let's see if I can get that in camera. Kind of there. I don't know. There's something about generally colubrid head shapes that just really scratches an itch for me. Might have to do with my first experience with snakes being garter snake related. But I'm going to put this one away and we'll carry on. So like I said before, a lot of these snakes come with mates ready to go for them. So that was a female Crazy Line milk snake, and this one is the boy that goes with it. And this one is apparent in a whole different way. These guys are not necessarily always the same. It changes a lot. So take a look at how he's got these clean lines up a great deal of his body, and then down the middle things just get weird. It looks like Pablo Picasso did some shots and then tried to draw a milk snake from memory. And although the facial anatomy is on point as it should be, the pattern kind of got wonky there, and that's a great deal of fun. Now, the fun part with a lot of New World colubrid snakes, so we're talking like Panthrophis, rat snakes, Lamprophis, which is going to be king snakes, Oh, those geckos are breeding. Whatever. And Pituophis, which are going to be like pine and gopher snakes, is they can technically integrate, even in the wild, or in captivity we would call that hybridization, I suppose. So using some old tricks of the trade, you could in theory breed this to a rat snake or a gopher snake and get viable offspring out of that could then also breed. They are fertile. So it kind of spits in the face of your standard, most commonly accepted species concept, which is that two individuals can breed and produce viable offspring, unlike a mule, for example, which is sterile. But this is why in science we have models and not straight up irrefutable facts, because with more evidence we change our perspective on things and adapt to that new evidence. And so this doesn't fit the most commonly accepted species concept, but there are other criteria to go by, and so we can speciate these, because this is very clearly different species than a gopher snake, just looking at its phenotype. But take a look. What a cute little fella that is. I'm sorry I'm having some focus issues here. I'm using my front-facing camera. There we go. You're adorable. Let's get you set up. So we saw a Florida exanthic white-sided king snake. This is another exanthic. This one's a boy. Excuse me. This one's a boy, and this is a desert king snake. So, look at you. You look like you were shot in a 1950s movie. That's adorable. So, take a look at this. This is a classic desert king snake. They've got that real classic king snakey pattern and a really cool little mask on them. It almost gives me blackhead python vibes, except of course they still have that colored chin strap there. Now usually these are more of a yellowed out color where you're seeing the white, but because this is an exanthic animal, all of that's peeled away and you're left with this really cool black and white look. This one, haven't decided yet. This one might actually be available for purchase in our store. I gotta kind of look at some of our projects we have going on and see if we have a female compatible with this, because that exanthic project we might just keep on the Florida side of things. Florida king snakes, that is. And I don't know if I want to get into desert kings. I think they're really cool, but we only have so much space and we can't keep them all. So the verdict is not out yet, but keep your eyes. This little fella might be available. I think he's really neat, and I'd love to keep them all, but we can't do that. So we just saw that male exanthic desert king snake. This one is also a male, and this one will be up for purchase. Hi! This is a wild type. So on that last one that we saw, all of these saddles were pitch black, whereas Bird, George, please. I'm sorry, he has terrible stage manners. On this one, it's kind of a chocolatey brown. It is quite dark, almost black, but in person I can see it's not all the way there. And where on the other one you saw a nice white color, this has that more classic yellowy color that you would expect to find in the wild type of these desert king snakes. So he's really cool. He is going to be available for purchase on our shop. So let us know what you think. Maybe you need a king snake in your life. I know I always need king snakes in my life. And you don't have to live vicariously through me. You can just do it. I've put George the bird in another room. He's pretty loud. So, what do we have now? So this, we saw a tangerine Honduran milk snake. This is a female. And this is a hypo-tangerine Honduran milk snake. So taking that high red coloration that we had on just the tangerine and pushing it to the next level. This is a very brilliant, again, these aren't snakes that are trying to blend in, they're trying to stick out like a sore thumb, and they sure do. Just look at the deep reds and oranges on this beautiful little lady. And I say little, but she's actually a pretty darn good size. I'm more accustomed to Nelson's milk snakes, which stay a little smaller, but these guys have some length on them. I mean, this one here is probably a little over 4 feet long. This is a really good sized snake. They're not the biggest milk snakes out there. That would be black milk snakes. And one of my snake breeder buddies has told me that he's got one that's pushing a little over 7 feet, which is huge for a milk snake, and jet black. Might get into those one day, but for now we've got enough going on. But take a look at that. An awesome little hypo tangerine Honduran milk snake. I can't get over how pretty these guys are. To get these sorts of colors out of a ball python, you would have to stack so many genes, and of course you'd never get this red out of there because those pigments just aren't really there in ball pythons. But no, I just find these to be really stunning little beauties of snakes. So, put this one away, and we'll check out the next one. We're getting there. This is another male. We're quite male heavy, which we already are on our king snakes, so we'll have to be very selective about what we keep. But this is pretty cool. Hi, you pooped a little. Thanks. So this is, I think, also a desert king. Hello, but it's got a little something else going on. So this is what is called the lavender albino morph in king snakes, and it's just so pink, so unbelievably pink. No bites. Okay. So these are I'm thrown off. You're really cool looking. I don't know how to words right now. Lavender albino is the T negative form of albino, tyrosinase negative. Basically, there's two different types of albino in many different snake species, T negative and T positive. The T positives retain a little bit of their melanin production, and therefore a little bit of their darker colors, whereas the T negatives, it gets washed right out. Now, when you hear albino, you might think of an all-white animal with red eyes. This bears true for mammals, and some reptiles, like crocodilians, for example, but in the case of squamates, snakes and lizards, at least there could be more, there are more than just melanin at play that give the animal its color. There's also Xanax phores. I can never pronounce it and always forget how to pronounce it. But this is going to give you a lot of yellow pigments, among other things that give them their color. So when you have an albino, you're stripping away only that melanin, and you're leaving those other pigments behind, so you still have some real stunning colors on the animals, and this one surely has those. Not sure what we're doing with this one yet. And so there we have it. A nice, bright pink snake that we may or may not keep. It depends. If this was a girl, it would definitely be a keeper because it would go with our pink pearl quite nicely. But alas, it is a boy, so this one might be up for purchase. We are down to our final 3, and I figured we would depart from the Hondurans and the generic king snakes a moment, and go on over to this. This one's really exciting. So Nelson's milk snakes are something we've had for a while. They are generally smaller, but ours don't love breeding. That said, we already have a male albino Nelson's milk snake and a female wild type. And I'm more of a fan of the wild type than the albino on milk snakes personally, but when we have breeding projects going, we always want to get variety going. So we're going to hang on to that wild type female and breed our already have male to it. That'll make wild types that carry albino. They're heterozygous for albino, but since it's a recessive gene, you won't see it on them. They'll look wild type. But if you were to breed them to albinos or other het albinos, you would have the potential to get the visual albino. And if that wasn't too boring and made enough sense to follow, congratulations. We're past my ramble, and I've got this open. So take a little look. Now this one's still a juvenile. It's got some growing to do before we're going to be able to pair it. But isn't that beautiful? This is a little T-negative albino Nelson's milk snake. So yeah, I mean, in general, smaller than Hondurans as a whole. And there's nothing wrong with that. Personally, I like big colubrids. That's why I love my Indian rat snakes and our giant Madagascar hognose snakes and our pine snakes so much. because I like the big ones, but this is still a strikingly beautiful little candy cane looking snake. So yeah, we'll be holding on to this one so that we can replicate it and have some little itty bitty baby albino Nelson's milk snakes for sale in the future here. But yeah, take a look. Just a little lady. So cute. Very demure, aren't you? Down to the last two. Oh, let's see here. Oh my goodness. Whoever tied these really tied them. It was me. I already looked at all of these. I've been fooling you this whole time. To be honest, when animals come in, we have to do a wellness check initially, and they came in early in the day. So, yes, I've already seen these snakes very briefly with a very excited customer, a young man who was in here. Figured we'd share that experience together, but now we're sharing it with you. And I can still be excited every time I open these as though it's the first time because I love them so much. Ooh, you're big. You are big. I remember this bigness. So this is a male. This is a hypo-tangerine milk snake. We saw one of these already, but this one is friggin' ginormous. He just keeps going and going. Let's see if I can get the whole guy in frame here. So this one, I mean, is maybe 4.5 feet long, maybe a little longer. I'm terrible at estimating sizes. This is why I'm single. But take a look at those lovely bright colors, which we did already see on the other one, but I'm showing you again and you're gonna like it. Sorry. So yeah, I love how on this one, I don't think the last one had this as much, but we go to the orange bands, very clean, no speckling on those scales. We go to the red bands, and we have each scale is tipped with a little black spot. And what it makes for is a snake that, from a distance, looks relatively simple. Looks like, yeah, you get the gist of it pretty quick, but you get up close with this snake, and you could stare at it for quite some time and keep picking up new features. These are very similar looking snakes to each other, but like we mentioned recently in a video, snakes' patterns are kind of like fingerprints in that no two are really the same, even if they're very darn similar. Until you get to some patternless stuff, then that kind of changes the game a little bit. But yeah, milk snake, Hondo, tangerine, hypo, yeah, I like it. We're keeping it, we're gonna breed it, we're gonna make little ones, and y'all are gonna buy them. One more, the bittersweet last one. All good things must come to an end. But considering I need to set up an enclosure for each one of these, well, too many gets overwhelming. So this is a lovely number. I don't know how many snakes it's been. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And this is 12. 12 snakes. It's like the 12 days of Christmas. Oh, my goodness. I've grown floppy and weak. Granted, it's about midnight now. Like I said at the beginning, when you work with animals, you just kind of gotta stay up and do the things that you gotta do. They gotta get done. That keeps the animals in good health, so you work long days. But it is truly a passion. Oh my God. It's, if you're lucky and privileged enough in life, you find work that you can live for rather than working exclusively to live, because that's kind of the society we live in. You gotta live for your job, and if you don't like your job, that really sucks. I've been there. I've spent most of my working time in life doing that, and I'll tell you what, the pay might be better, and the hours might be less freestyle, but it's not worth it. You're selling your soul, so may as well sell your soul to something of your choosing. And this is what I want to do. So, we have got... Hi, this is a cool one. And it's in shed, so its colors aren't as poppy as they otherwise would be. But check it out. Also a milk snake, and this one looks kind of naked. And that's because this is a vanishing pattern milk snake. You might be wondering why it's called that, and if you are, think about it real hard for just a minute. I'm sure it'll come to you. Oh, look at that. There actually is a little bit of pattern on this little fella right near the tail, right on the belly. But it's vanishing. It's going away. Thus the vanishing pattern. I suspect, and I don't know this for sure, I suspect when these guys hatch out of the egg, they have a lot more pattern. And as time goes on, that pattern kind of buggers off. It's vanishing. That's all for today. Forgot to film an outro, so bye.